Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Goodnight, Beautiful Women. Stories by Anna Noyes. Narrated by Alyssa Bresnahan and Eva Kaminsky.
Hibernation. Joni called the sheriff right after it happened. Her voice was clear and steady, and the line she gave was the right one. "I believe my husband has drowned in the quarry by our house." She changed out of Jack's boxers into jeans and a gray button-up. It was difficult picking out appropriate clothing for a woman who'd just lost her husband. She combed her hair until it sparked with static. Joni, who once cried over a Folgers coffee commercial, hadn't cried yet. This frustrated her, like a sneeze that wouldn't come. She tucked some tissues up her sleeve, just in case. Joni told it to the sheriff like it was. "I wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of my name from outside, probably around 1 in the morning. I look out the window by the bed and Jack's wading into the quarry, holding a small hunk of granite. He was wearing a white t-shirt, so I could see him clearly, and I saw his head go under. By the time I got outside, he was gone." The sheriff asked her questions, glancing up at the appropriate moments with a look of sympathy. "Did he give any indication he might do something like this?" he said. "There were signs," said Joni. He looked toward the window that faced the water. "Wish we could dredge it like a lake," he said. "Depending how far a person swam beyond the shallow ledge, and if he weighed himself down, a body could be trapped in a crevice. We'll get divers out tomorrow, if he doesn't show up. Quarries can be tricky to search, though. Deep, murky, a lot of junk down there. We might have to drain it some." "May I be frank?" "Of course," she said. "There'll be a thorough investigation. We'll run a missing persons report, take every measure. But this sounds like a suicide." He paused for her reaction, scanning her face, which she let drop into her hands. He patted her shoulder twice. "Excuse me," she said, looking at the floor between the spread of her fingers. She tried to think of heartbreaking things as she rooted for the tissue. It had traveled up her sleeve, now a lump by her elbow. That movie where hoodlums kick an old homeless man to death. Footage of cows lowing, wild-eyed, on their way to slaughter. After he left, she stood at the window. When she realized who she was looking for, she gave a little laugh. There was a smear on the glass where her nose had pressed. Jack was in the quarry, and he had drowned. He was dead. The other possibilities made her hands start to shake. Jack let Joni watch him go into the quarry and go under, but he swam to the other side and snuck through the woods. From there he found a new life with a different woman. Another scenario, the most paranoid but not out of the question, was that Jack walked into the water, climbed out on the other side, and was in the woods. He was watching Joni from outside, watching everything she did, because he was testing her. He was trying to see how she would behave when he was gone, if she would fail him. Jack had been hell-bent for the quarry for a long time. That he was in there seemed to Joni like a brief stage in his life cycle, a necessary hibernation. Joni knew she was okay, even if her thinking wasn't. She had clean hair. No salt spilled on her counter, and there were no maggots in her trash cans. She had a fruit bowl filled with nectarines and a row of books on the shelf arranged from large to small. But she misspoke at the post office. She couldn't help it. She was talking to a woman who was in town for Labor Day weekend. The woman's French bulldog was peeing on the wheelchair ramp. Jack had been gone for 2 weeks. His body never recovered. Other policemen came and went, asking her questions, looking at her sidelong. And then the suicide was official. And this woman gave Joni a look of pitying concern and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?